Hey everybody, this is Justin back with an engineer's perspective, and I'm doing an update on my DIY bag. I originally developed this bag when we moved into our house in January of 2022, and then I did a first video around March, and then I did a follow-up 6 months later, and now it's been a year and 3 months. We're in June of 23, and I'm doing an update of this again. It hasn't changed an insane amount, but a lot of little things have changed, and I definitely think it's warranted for an update. And then we're going to talk about a few tool exchanges out of this bag, more just to try things out. Actually, we'll take this out and then we talk about it later. Because yeah, like a lot of this is about functionality, but a little bit about it is I just really like tools and I want to try out new ones, so I get in there anyways. Let's start on the outside of the bag. Still carrying a tape measure out here, but this is not a Stanley Fat Max. I've loved the Stanley Fat Maxes for a long time, but I semi-recently got turned on to fast cap because I used a lot in like woodworking. And this is what Woodpecker sells, are the fast cap tapes, and I was like, well geez, if Woodpecker sells them, they gotta be decent. And so what's the deal with fast cap if you're not aware? This is a 16-footer. They've got a bunch of different versions. It's like PSSR, I think, which to me stands for pre-startup safety review. But anyways, for them it means pad. You've got an erasable pad here, so you can, write down your measurement, 16 3/4, so you don't forget it, and it just rubs off. So that's pretty nifty. It's pretty cool. Lock, you've got the little kind of thing there so you can hold it without sticking your finger in there. The blade on this one, so it can be seen from the top or the bottom, and you've got everything marked down to the 16th. Honestly, it makes reading it so much faster. I've read tape measures for well over a decade now, and I know that there's people out there who've been reading them for 40-50 years, but I know how to read a tape measure, and having these numbers still makes it really fast, so I do really like that. The belt clip on it, you can bend it up so you can slip it into your pocket easy, comes out nice. It's got a pencil sharpener on the bottom, which I don't use. Yeah, fast cap. I've only had their products. This one's like brand new to me, but I've been wanting it for a while. They're not proven in time to me yet in a construction site, but they're sold as a pro carpenter tool, so we'll see how that holds up. I'll just leave it out. I'll go over here. We got I think it's a 1.5 inch putty knife, pretty putty knife. I really like having the butt end of this for closing the paint cans and whatever back up. And this is just for, the small drywall repairs. Still the Bondus hex keys with the round ends there. Those are good to go. Got my mini Dasco Pro pry bar. That's a must. Same flashlight. Not a huge fan of my lighting in this setup. I'd really like some sort of semi-larger area hands-free thing, but I'd say the flashlight's still a must just for troubleshooting. Still got my, oh no I don't, oh shit, are they just down in there? They are. So I have some spare DeWalt blades, but I don't use them anymore because I'm testing out this guy right here, the Knipex Cutex. And it's kind of this style of blade, and kind of, Knipex came out with this, and what made it kind of newer is that they've got that guy that you can extend out with it on this track versus that one, and so it stiffens up the blade. So why I want to try it out is because there's a lot of times when I want that extra reach, but more so is the flexibility. So if you're trying to get up close to something and trim it off, it's just really nice to have that flexibility and reach. My normal is a Milwaukee Fastback, just their smallest version. And do I like this over that? Sometimes, for sure. But long story short, with these blades, is they're always dull. and it's more of a commitment to deal with getting a sharp one on there. And like when this whole thing is dull and I end up replacing the whole thing versus just slipping in and out the actual blade. And like on these kind of blades, the standard, you know, trapezoid, is that a trapezoid? Blades, like you can get these carbide ones that last a lot longer, not so much on these long ones. So I don't like that, that the blades are always dull. You're always having to replace the whole freaking thing. This is the blade storage back here, and it's insanely hard to get off. Like, I'm not gonna get it for you guys, but it's really stuck up in there. It's just held in with like two little flappers and like detents. It sucks. And then I'm only saying bad things here. The last thing I don't like is if your blade is short because you've broken off some of the pieces and you've got this doodad extended out, in order to retract it, so you retract your blade, but it's still sticking out there. So usually what I end up doing is I just go the whole way. So that's slick, is you can use this pad to push back that one. So that is nice, but then it's kind of awkward because you have such a long stroke to get your knife back out. So long story short, I tend not to use this support very much unless I really need it for something. I just make the blade shorter if I need a stiff blade. So yeah, those are kind of, this isn't a review of the Cuttix, so I just wanted to kind of give an update. Incredibly comfortable and light. I will continue to keep it in the bag, but I don't know if I actually like it more than just a Milwaukee Fastback. Like I said, the blades have fallen down in there. I'm not gonna stick my fingers in there. Over here, this continues to be the awesomest bit storage. I very rarely ever grab a bit. They're always just right here. T25, number 2 Phillips, Matco 1/4 and 5/16, number 1 square, T20, number 2 square. Spare tape measure, really is just holding my electrical tape. In here we've got the Wago 221 locking lever nuts. I keep 2s, 3s, and 5s in here. I just grab a handful, dump them on the ground, and whatever the application requires, I use. I do have spare wire nuts in the back if that's what I feel like using. Never use them. I've got these doodads for extending out outlet wall plate covers, especially, excuse me, in an old house. That's pretty useful, like mine. Nothing lives back here, so that's interesting. I've got pre-made 14 and pre-made 12 gauge pigtails, ground, neutral, and hot. So that hasn't changed. I still got my screw pouch. So I've got 3/4, half screws, my short ones. And I've got 1-inch number 10s. I'm looking for those big fat boys. And then 1.5-inch number 8s, all Spax. And then I also keep 2-inch construction screws down here. It's a Spax number 8 2-inch construction screw. Then back behind here. So this has changed some. I've got 1/4-inch washers, still super important to me. These are the anchors I use right now. The 1/8 inch by 3-inch. I cannot think of the word for these things. Toggle bolts, jeez Louise. So I've got those. And then these are just my wall hanging nails. I think they're, I forget what they are, but they're not these things, they're different. Yeah, so that's the outside. So moving on to the inside, we'll just give you an overview look. So basically, each side has 3 big pockets and then one smaller one here and one smaller one in here. And so I'll just go through the big pockets on this side and that side, and we'll go from there. So first off is my Stabila level, torpedo level. Love, 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 love this thing. Love this. I liked my Klein that I had before. This is way better. It just straight up is, just your ability to get that level dead on is just so improved. It's absolutely incredible. The only downside to the Stabila, other than cost, is if you've got it up against a wall, there's just all this smooth rounded metal, and it doesn't, even when you're pushing hard and trying to make a mark, you see that? It just wants to turn on you because there's nothing to really like give it some grip on your wall. But I absolutely love it. Stud Buddy, magnetic stud finder, finding studs. Happy Father's Day, by the way. It's Father's Day today. This is what I decided to do with my Father's Day morning. I just asked myself, what's something I really want to do? I'm here with you. Here's another new thing, PB Swiss screwdriver. I've tried a lot of screwdrivers. I've got Klein, Weehaw, a couple different Philos, all the cheap ones too, and the Milwaukee ones, the original Milwaukee ones. This is it. This is definitely my favorite Phillips driver, and we're actually going to talk about a new Phillips driver in a second because I like to just try stuff. But this is the best Phillips driver I've ever tried. It came with some free rust up in there, so that's cool. But PB Swiss #2 Phillips, absolutely love that screwdriver. It's the best. Still rocking the Knipex forged wire strippers. This is one of my favorite tools ever. And it's just fantastic with the lever nuts. If you're trying to twist a 3-pair, 4-pair of 14 gauge wire, it's not going to happen with these. It's not going to be a good joint. Just because you can make the twist doesn't make it a good joint. Okay? They've got to be tight, held together with a wire nut. Like this just doesn't do that. With the lever nuts though, mwah, chef's kiss. Absolutely love that tool. Contact voltage tester works great when this one breaks by a Klein. This is just, it's from Menards Smart Electrical. It just works every time. It just does. Got my Klein outlet tester still. They make fancier ones of these now that have, there's like 10 of these that Klein makes, and some of them I feel like even say like voltages and different things like that. I'm probably gonna upgrade to one of those when I upgrade that. Marking utensils, this has changed a little bit. So I still got my Inksol. I used to carry a blue and a red. There was never a time when I was like, I need a blue one for this or a red one for that. Honestly, I would probably switch to a black at some point, but because I use blue painter's tape a lot, and neither blue or red showed up that good on it. But regardless, regular #2 pencil for a fine lead and eraser situation. Then I've got this. I bought this from my local Menards to try out and compare it to like a Pica pencil. And A, it's not as good as a Pica, not even close. B, it is really fantastic as a construction pencil. And so it's a Dixon Reach. It's kind of similar form factor to the Pica, but instead of like a normal push top, you've got this kind of slide action here. This lead's a teeny bit harder than the Pica lead. I do like that. Your back just twists off, and it's got the sharpener in there, and so just twists on and off. Yeah, it does have a sheath that it comes with, but it doesn't work worth anything because this little tab keeps it from seating all the way, and so it's just always sticking up high and falling out. So I just leave it out of there. But I love having these kind of more robust construction pencils that aren't construction pencils. Although I like construction pencils too. Is my marking. So I started this bag out with a Knipex plier wrench, 180 millimeters. Then I went to a 6-inch crescent wrench because there's times that just worked better for me, and I have gone back to the plier wrench because they're better and faster. My actual pair of pliers of all time is the Knipex Cobra 250 millimeter. I've got the comfort grip here because soft office hands. What is there to say about these? They're the best. So that's that. I also started keeping a pair of 4-inch Knipex Cobras in there, the XS's. Reason for that is just some tight spaces I kept ending up in where I ended up having to go grab something else that those wouldn't work for. And I've got some shrink wrap on the handles. I probably needed to go a size smaller because it didn't adhere perfectly, but adequately. So There you go. That's that side. We'll move on to this other side. So current set of screwdrivers. I've got the Fellow Ergonomics, made in Germany. What I love about these is they've got the non-round tip. They've got the bolster you can get on. I rarely use that, but it has saved me before. Markings on the end, and they're, you know, no grip on the end. What else? Yeah, I think that they have very high quality tips that are actually magnetized. Huh, I actually didn't know that. Their number 2 Phillips is great. Didn't beat out the PB Swiss. PB Swiss ended up back in here. I went to these because I loved my Weehaws. I really did. It's just that they were the insulated, and I was just beating the absolute tar out of the insulation on them. And I was like, gosh, does this make sense even? I decided no. So really good screwdrivers. Philos tend to be a teeny bit more affordable sometimes, but they have really long, short reach on them. Seems to be the case. And so this one here is a 40 millimeters long. This just doesn't make any sense. No. Got a 4 millimeter head, 75 millimeters long, and then a 0.8 millimeter wide blade on that. I like these in the 3.5 range a little bit, more for just kind of poking and light prying in places, and I really prefer the long reach. So I wish it was a little bit skinnier head and quite a bit longer, like my Wero was. But I like that it's got the extra strength too, because I was very close to bending my Wero very frequently. And then this one is 125 millimeters long. It's a 6.5 millimeter head, 1.5 millimeters thick. It's a really good size for outlet covers, but when they fit too perfectly into like an outlet cover is when you're taking that screw off. Sometimes you'll end up scoring a ring around the screw because you're just outside of it a teeny bit. And so I actually tend to prefer like a 5.5 millimeter screwdriver on the flatheads for that reason. You know, it's funny, I tried to order a PB Swiss flathead, and this is what I accidentally got instead. You really got to read the description. Whoops. So I've got this useless PB Swiss screwdriver, 2.5 millimeter. So, whatever. It's in my electrical repair drawer. Okay, those are the screwdrivers. Stuck my laser tape in there. It just saves me a lot of time when I'm trying to remeasure rooms so we can decide how we're going to lay out lighting or whatever it is, how long trim needs to be, although I'd never use my final measurement off this for trim. Not that you couldn't, but I wouldn't. Don't trust it enough. Laser tape. I think I had this in there already, the 6-inch Empire. It's not an amazing square or anything, but it really works for the small jobs this does. It's really nice. Be able to pull the ruler out, to use as a rule, and just have this for layouts, small little layouts. I think this is new. I used to have the Knipex nippers in here, which are kind of the closer together handles, smaller head. These are the pincers, and with the hammerhead. And they're not very good hammers, but they work as hammers. And these are far superior to just regular nippers when you're working with smaller things like trim nails and stuff. Just the leverage and the angle, excuse me, just work out a heck of a lot better. So if you're doing a lot of trim jobs and just have smaller nails that you're pulling out, really recommend the pincers from Knipex. That's 5102210 if you're looking for that model number. That has been a fantastic upgrade. I got rid of the small hammer that was in here. I've been using those as my main hammer. I'd say that works out 80 to 85% of the time, but the other 15% is pretty annoying. Got some bits over here. Used to carry a nail set, just a standard, whatever, like the 3/32 nail set. Is that the small one? Just a standard Dasco one of those. I don't do that anymore. But I keep my long reach number 2 Robertson bit in there. That's a Craig bit. I think they're pretty decent. Then my Milwaukee 6-inch extension. with the quick insert collet, and see how small that this end is. It's got to be low profile on the reach there. And then now what I use instead is, I think Mills Construction brought these up once, but I got them at Sherwin-Williams. This is a pin striker for your doors, your door pins. And then this is my nail set. One is the small 3/32. I'll just let you see that. And there's the bigger size. I don't know what that is. Maybe 16th, maybe more. I don't know. Anyways, I use these now instead of the hammer, because that was the biggest thing that this thing failed at. I was trying to use a nail set with this little hammer. It just did not work that good. Great for the door pins. Still deciding on how much I like this for the nail set, but it seems to work well. Over here, I believe these were in the last video, but if not, the Klein dikes, man. I had the regular Knipex 6 or 8 inch. So are these 8 inch? These are the D2048s. I forget what size these are. Yep, these are the 8 inch. So I had the normal Knipex 8 inch. They're straight, not high leverage. I wanted the high leverage. I knew that. And so that's why I went to go buy another pair of dikes. And then these are the angled. And they make it fantastic for if you grab it onto a nail and then like pulling up on it or just getting into spaces. So that angle is like really, really awesome for me. And then these are still these are Channel Lock E318 CBs. The CBs are the cold blues. Still my favorite pair of needle nose pliers. I started out with the Knipex. Those were too flexible at the tips. I've tried the Klein ones, and I didn't love the Klein ones because I like cross hatching up in here, because it's a big difference in how well it grips. Sometimes it can be overly aggressive, but I prefer the cross hatching. I love being able to grip onto stuff, and these have the high leverage pivot, so they cut a heck of a lot better than the Knipex or the Kleins did. So these are my favorite. They're small and light, comfortable handles, but still very strong and robust. The hinge on them is starting to wobble a little bit, so that's too bad. We'll talk more about those later. So that's my sides all taken out. Now let's go into the probably most exciting part, which is power tools. I've got the Milwaukee M12 installation driver here. So this is definitely my go-to drill for this setup. I have tried running the hammer drill. It's like the 3420 or something. The newest generation of hammer drill that Milwaukee has in the 12 volt. I've tried that in here. It's just significantly heavier and it's bulkier. And it doesn't really give me anything that this doesn't already give me. And I've got the exchangeable heads on this. Other than just power, it gives me more of that. So I much prefer the installation driver. Still my go-to. I keep the 90-degree attachment in here at all times because that gets used the most. The other heads are out in the garage. I kept the belt clip off for a long time. I put it back on just because sometimes it is nice to keep it up high so you're not having to go down to the floor and reach out of there or whatever a lot. So I've done that. Rocking the 2.5 hour high output battery. Really like those. That's pretty much that. One of my favorite power tools ever, the M12 Surge. Once again, 2.5 high output. And I finally got one of these things on here. This is the Simon Tools bit holder. So you've got two front-on slots for something. I've got a T20 is what it should be. Yep, T20. And then I've got the dual Milwaukee bit there. I actually really don't like these Phillip bits. They seem to suck extra. But a T25 and a number 2 Phillips. And then you can put stuff on the outside there and on the back side there. I've been wanting one of these for a long time. Love having that. Once again, put the belt clip back on. Love the Surge. It's quiet. It's very controllable. It's a great tool. Okay, we're getting down in there. Got my bit box. I very rarely use these other bits, but I do sometimes, like right here. I was assembling a table my wife bought from Wayfair and Chairs. And so the main, what I use out of here a lot are the actual drill bits. That's what this is for. You can see I've got my main pilot holes right there. So I've got a number 6 pilot, 8 pilot, and 10 pilot. And then if you're in hardwoods, then that's, everything shifts down one. So I've just kind of marked those, just makes them really quick and easy to look at. And the emergency bits I keep in here is a full range of Torx and a full range of hex, and then some big flatheads, which I almost never get used. And so those are in here because I can fit them in here, and these are like the goofy things you're gonna run into where you need a specific bit, not just a Phillips number 2, you know? And then I've just got a long reach T20, a T25, a T15, a number 3 Phillips, and a number 1 Phillips. So those are the goofy Phillips. And then one day I'll take out this countersink bit and this, I don't even know what that is, that red bit in there. I'm not sure why it's in there. I'll take them out one day. Still rocking the headlamp, the Streamlight. There are probably better ones out there. These just take AAA batteries. I have no problem with this, but once again, like I'm almost forced to use a headlamp when I'd rather be using just like a more area lighting that you put down because I have nothing else. Like I can't just sit there and hold that. So this gets used a lot when I'd rather use area lighting. That's not a knock on it. It's just I want area lighting. So, but it works fine. It works fine. So this is a blue painter's tape. This is the Duck Clean Release brand. Sticks a heck of a lot better than the 3M. But if you got to be careful, especially on a more freshly painted wall, you will peel the tape off that wall if you're not careful. So sometimes it sticks too well. Sorry about that. This tape can stick too well, so be careful with it. But I much prefer this over the 3M just for daily tasks. Now, if I'm taping a whole room, I may choose the 3M Scotch. Still got my little can of DAP Dry Decks. Use this one because it's a tiny little can. I think either 3M or somebody else came out with a bunch of small cans of stuff. Not a huge fan of this dry time indicator stuff from DAP. It's just a little bit, I appreciate that it dries so fast. But it's just like it's the wetter spackling, like they're not the gold cover DAP one, but the black cover. I forget what it's called. It just finishes so much smoother and goes on so much nicer than this. But like if it's just filling one nail hole, then this is great. I've got some Teflon tape here. God, what size is this? Should just know about looking at it. But just a small size, you can wrap it up more. I really like the Blue Monster, not just like the whatever brand. I like to buy the expensive Teflon tape. And then I do have a spare 2.0 battery in here. I don't know. I should just take this back out. I don't normally keep this in here. It just ended up in this bag after we did a small renovation to close up a door and open it into a new hallway. Convert a closet to a bedroom. So I'll probably just take that out. Let's just go there. Oh, and of course, the ever important, I believe they're 10-inch zip ties. You can see I've only got 3 of them left, but sometimes this is exactly what you need. They take up no space, just down the bottom of your bag. So that's the updates. That's the garbage. I use my bag as a garbage can. So you can see I added an outlet. I don't know what that is. I installed some new lighting. So I think I did I move the lighting? I think these were the old fixtures that came with it. You can see each slot's taken up, so you can see I did use it though. It's more of that. I added more lights in our storage rooms. That's the wire nuts there. Some caulking, that caulk tip. Just going over projects I did. Obviously, Romex for those electrical projects. You know, lots of trim nails and stuff from trim jobs of putting in new trim that looks better. This is just a hex key from like a Wayfair box because I throw them away. I just use my nice ones. Some PEX B collars there. Did some plumbing. Added a utility sink in our storage room. So we did PEX B on it. I did PEX B. I just, you know, went for it. I'd love to do PEX A, but money, you know. Anything else notable in here? There's a little tip from an epoxy tube. I used it to dowel in some rebar for some concrete to hold on to. Yeah, so it kind of just gives an idea of the projects. That's all going to go into the garbage, all this stuff here. So yeah, the projects that I've been working on and have been doing, and that's kind of my whole bag there. So this video is wildly long, but I do want to talk about some new tools. So I was at Acme Tools the other day, and I saw that they had come out with the USA line of Milwaukee tools. Now, I have a lot of Milwaukee stuff, but I have no extra love or blindness to Milwaukee tools being the best thing ever or whatever. However, they spent a lot of money building a plant in the US, and I have no doubt that these are going to be at the very least decent. And so I bought the big pack of screwdrivers. I bought a pair of needle nose pliers, and I bought a cute pair of 6-inch dikes because I didn't have any in this size. And so these are going to go in. So the code blues are going to come out for a while. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm going to take out my Klein dikes, and in these will go. This is going to replace the PB Swiss. This is going to replace the Philo. And then here, I'll have plenty of reach. And this is a 3/16 head. It's bigger than I really want. What I don't like about this one, though, is it's got the round shank on it. And I'm probably going to bend this pretty much immediately. But I do like the long reach to just get into places and poke and prod and pry. So I do like that. So those are going to replace those things. Then here's two tools that I'm just trying for shits and giggles. So this is the Klein kind of like needle nose plier wire stripper. It's basically the precursor. This came out before the Knipex forged wire strippers. But they also have their electrician pliers. Regardless, I bought these to try them out. Mostly I think they're going to end up living in like a small bag that I bring in the car with me, so that when I'm visiting the in-laws mostly, that if I do projects at their house, that I've got some tools that I like. And so these, I just don't feel like bringing forged wire strippers to their house. So these are kind of the in-between. I'm just testing them out in my bag to see how I like them. One thing I hate about them is stuff gets caught up right in the pivot area when you cut stuff. So that right off the hop is really annoying. And then for the wire strippers, the Knipex have like little bumps to like as like indices, and I much prefer those bumps. And obviously a much smaller gripping area, so there's not a lot of twist action going on with these. However, very nicely made, good tool. And the other thing is the Knipex twin grips. So I had to get a pair of these. They were on sale. First impressions of them, I've had them just for like a month, haven't used them a lot. I really like them when I've used them. Super impressed with what I can do with them, especially getting on the side of things. I've used them to untwist pairs in combination with these guys. And so that's kind of a thought there of wire you can get on the end with it. But just, they do exactly what they're supposed to do. The end grip is amazing. The side grip is amazing. Just for getting in those really tight spaces. So really like those. I'm going to be trying these out. They won't be replacing anything. I'll just be adding weight. Speaking of weight, this is not super light. It's not crazy heavy. I will add that into the description if I remember. That's all I've got for today. We're still rocking this AWP piece of garbage bag. When it dies, gets a hole in it, I'll replace it. It hasn't done so yet, so here it is. Yeah. That was a long one, but that's the updates. That's all I've got for today. Have a good one. Bye.